Hello, everybody. I just want to say that, shortly before Independence Day came along, I had a feeling that some Americans were more somber about our country amid the Supreme Court and some of the rulings that have gone on that have divided us more, I think, ahead of this holiday. Um, People complain about many different issues that America faces, and there's a lot of them, including healthcare, income inequality, racism, sexism, extremist Supreme Court, and a lot more. But the one that's not talked about enough, in my opinion, is right to live. All these issues I mentioned and the more that are out there, they're all important, I think. But, the right to live is the most basic right that we have. In America, we look at all these different freedoms that we have and we celebrate today on Independence Day, including the freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of assembly, freedom to vote. But the freedom that we most take for granted, I believe, is the right to live, to be able to get up and not have to worry about getting shot and killed. Um, I think that we are talking a lot about it right now with abortion, and some of that is justified. Um, the debate between pro-life and pro-choice, and like I said, I'm in the pro-life category there, but I think that we need to focus more on guns right now, um, gun violence, because the question I just want to ask everyone is why do we accept a mass shooting almost every single week? It is becoming very normal here, and I'm really sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of looking at my phone, looking at these headings, and just getting the feeling that it's just becoming a part of us, becoming a part of our culture. What I'm talking about is today in Highland Park, Illinois, close to home for me, there was a parade that was going on in Highland Park. People just celebrating the anniversary of America being created and the freedoms that they have, and they were just gunned down today. Um, the numbers so far are 6 people have been killed and over 24 people have been hospitalized. Um, I just want to say that I'm sorry to all those people who have lost their lives, to the family members of those people, and to all the people who have been injured by this brutal attack. Um, I'm sure this is not going to surprise anybody that the person who supposedly shot all these people was a young white person that had an assault rifle, as all of the mass shootings have been, basically. Um, I hate saying thoughts and prayers because that's what all that Republicans say, and they want to move on as quickly as they can, so it doesn't really feel that genuine, but I feel that I need to offer it still because I do care. Um, but I'm really angry. I'm really angry that, like I said, this is becoming a part of us, that this is becoming normal, and that I believe people who are thinking about committing these heinous acts are emboldened every time they see something like this. You know, um, I don't know why it's so easy for any American to go to a gun store very easily and purchase multiple assault rifles. And you don't even need to go to a gun store. You can go to Dick's or Walmart, and there are certain stores where you can just go in and buy an assault rifle. Um, it's very easy for some people, and specifically AR-15s that can be heavily modified and are known to be involved in mass shootings. I think that there's no place for any American to have an assault rifle. Um, I think that should only be for military use. if we need to send our troops overseas or if we're being invaded, that's the only purpose for assault rifles. Nobody can make any valid argument, I believe, for any one civilian to need an assault rifle that can shoot like 30 bullets in a minute. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it's unjustified. I love how people bring up the Second Amendment, that it was one of the first amendments created and everything like that, but the facts that you need to know is that when the Second Amendment was created by our founding fathers, it was during the Revolutionary War with the British in 1791. This was when the Second Amendment was created. And they didn't have assault rifles back then. They didn't have pistols. What they had was muskets. And they fired very differently from assault rifles today. So there is no valid argument for the Second Amendment being the same then as it is now. And I just really hate that argument. I think it's very easy to see that there's two sides of the problem. One, obviously, is that the people who commit these acts, these mass shootings that kill fellow Americans for very little to no cause at all, these people are mentally deranged and they need help. That part is obvious. I think it's definitely not only a gun thing. Like, these people, there's definitely a mental health crisis in America, and specifically with mass shooters who have a lot of mental problems. So there's that, and then there's the fact that it's very easy for people, the wrong people, to get automatic weapons and shoot fellow Americans. I mean, I think that's very simple when you look at it that way, that it's a mental health problem and a gun problem. Really sick and tired of this pattern, and I know it's not going to end today. I just think that we need to get past this horrible period of mass shooting after mass shooting. At first, mass shootings seemed to only be with schools, and that was really tragic, obviously. I mean, it's not good anywhere, but in schools with children, you know, it's never good. But it somehow got worse, and I didn't see that coming. But now it has spread out way more, where it's not just schools, where you can try and put in reforms easier just for schools, but it is all over. That's why the arguments of armed guards and everything like that, you can't do that all over America. You can't do that not just in schools, but there's been mass shootings now in churches, supermarkets, movie theaters, saloons, hospitals, parades, every aspect of our lives. Public transportation. It's just a gun problem and a mental health problem, and we need to address both. And we're not addressing either one enough right now. We just need to do better as a country. I really am tired of this cycle of Americans seeming to care after a mass shooting, and then all the momentum dies down. It doesn't get covered after a little while, and most Americans don't seem to just be motivated in any way for change after a week or two after shooting, until the next one, and the next one, and the next one. It's just this vicious cycle that doesn't seem like change. You know, I think I said in my last video that the Senate and Congress and the President, the bill was actually passed, I think the strongest gun reform bill in 30 years. But the contents in it are very weak. It's not enough, not nearly enough, obviously, as mass shootings are still happening. And on top of that, the Supreme Court knocked down a huge gun reform bill, and they're probably going to continue to do so, since they have that power. So we just need to do more. And the best way to do that is in November, in the general election, in the midterms. I know there's other issues right now that are being pushed to the forefront for the midterms, but the number one issue you need to think about is gun violence, I believe. Any scumbag politician who does not want to put in place more gun reform measures with all of these mass shootings needs to go. Anybody who's running that's not talking about gun reform, and anybody who's in Congress, especially actually those who are in Congress now, who are not talking about gun reform and who are getting paid millions of dollars by the NRA. Those people need to go, or else we will not get better as a country. I think America right now is in a horrible place. We've been deeply divided for so many years, it feels like. And it just feels like we're sinking lower and lower because, like I've said, there's all these issues, but with all of these mass shootings, I feel like we're just kind of losing what we are as a country, our ideals, our freedoms, our unity. It's all going down. So I just think that we're in a bad place right now, but there is room for growth and we can change the situation. I hope that we can find a way out of the darkness, and we just need to be loud and be heard. So thank you all for watching, and stay informed, and have a good night.